So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love Paul McGrath podcast. I was just about to say it feels like it was only yesterday we were on, but it was only yesterday we were on. It's less than 24 hours after the Man City game, but the games are coming thick and fast in the Premier League, and we've got Brentford this Saturday at 3:00 in the Red Brick Palace of Villa Park. There is a game on that has consequences, I suppose, for Aston Villa at the moment. Chelsea and Manchester United. So we will keep you abreast of any of the scores on that, and you can also keep us abreast of any of the scores that we miss in that. And oh Jesus, what's this Assy after doing? After handing the ball straight to, well, that's not a goal anyway. It's straight to Highland, and Highland, he got back to defend it. So we'll try and keep you up to date with that game as well. But we will also obviously more predominantly be talking about Aston Villa versus Brentford, because if Villa look after their own business between now and the end of the season, we won't need to worry about Manchester United's, Paddy. Isn't that right?
That's what we all have to do. And as I said 2 weeks ago, is look after your own oxygen mask first and fuck everybody else, and we'll be fine. So there's just a few more wins to secure fifth, and probably a couple more than a few to secure fourth. But look, we can just do our own job. I think fifth might be enough. So I think that's got to be our aim. So fingers crossed we can get that ball rolling this weekend and get the 3 points, because I think it's going to be a tough one. And I think the pressure now is all on us after last night. So fingers crossed, because we need to win our home matches, and this is definitely one of the home matches we need to win.
Yeah, the pressure is all on us, you say, Paddy. Brentford aren't exactly out of a scrap at the bottom of it. No, they more than likely are out of that scrap, but like stranger things have happened. I remember a team in 2019, 2020 performing some serious miracles from a position that was not too dissimilar to the likes of Luton at the bottom of the table there. And Brentford aren't exactly out of it. I know they're in 15th place. They've got 28 points, but as I said, they're going to want to look for wins. Obviously, as well. Like they're only 6 points off relegation zone, so they'll feel themselves that one or two more wins will keep them safe and keep the wolf from their door. So they're going to be coming looking for us. But realistically speaking, Paddy, their form has been absolutely chronic recently. Like it's been last draw is their last 5 games, and they've got a poor record at Villa Park over the last few games. I think it is definitely since Unai Emery has come in, but we'll need to take it to them, and I think Unai Emery will, and I think a lot will be on his shoulders given the resting of players last night. And I think obviously when we get to talk about it in a minute, I think the team will be reinstated to a more familiar team, I think, that we've had all this season, Paddy.
Yeah, I think so. I absolutely think so, and that's I think it's what happened last night that puts us under a bit of pressure. And what did he say last week? It's not pressure, it's an opportunity. Yeah, last night was an opportunity that we didn't go for, so we've got to take the opportunity this weekend. By all accounts, Brentford were chronic last night. 24 shots against them, 5 shots for them, 70% possession for Brighton. Boring 0-0 draw. Nothing really happened.
Their goalkeeper Flecken would have blocked pebbles last night. I watched highlights of it. He was all over. He was brilliant. Now, saying that, I think Brighton took something like, of their 24 shots, I think 14 of them came from outside the box. So 13, that might be a bit of a misleading spot. Was it 13?
11 outside the box, 13 inside the box, and there were 7 block shots, 6 shots on target, so 6 decent saves. Well, I remember 4 decent saves. Whether the other ones were decent, I don't know, but it's a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. I don't care what anyone says, because we're either going to be nervous and sound them out for 15 minutes like we did last week, or we're going to go for a bald-headed from the start. And I hope it's the latter, because I'm still a little bit raw after last night. I have calmed down a little bit, but I'm a little bit raw after it, and just the coughing up the 4 goals has annoyed me a little bit.
Yeah, it's look, I suppose a lot of people talking about it from a goal difference point of view, goal difference specifically, I suppose, in reference to Spurs. But look, the Unai Emery has always said, I suppose, from the start of not really, I suppose, from the start of the season, that there's 7 better teams in the Premier League than us. Now, if we finish, now whether you believe him or not is another story. But at the moment, we are in the top 5 of the Premier League, and I firmly believe that's where we will stay. But whether we finish in 4th or whether we finish in 5th, I think it's where we will stay this season. So we will have overplayed Unai Emery's expectations, I suppose, of the team this year. And if it gets us into Champions League, that would probably hinge on us as well. So what I'm getting at here is that we're in an enviable position whereby we can we're chasing 4th position, but we also have to perform in Europe to keep the coefficient up the way things are. Now, granted, if Arsenal do us the world of all favours and beat Bayern Munich both days out and knock them completely out, and then West Ham lock Leverkusen out of the Europa League as well, that would be absolutely brilliant. That would mean we would be 100% guaranteed 5th spot as a Champions League spot. But until things happen, we have to fight on both fronts, Paddy.
We have to for many reasons, financial reasons, appeasing the fans reasons. There's a European Cup there European trophy there to be won. We're 4 games away from a final, so we've got to be going for that one. You know, I know the fixtures don't fall too kindly around it, and there's nothing we can do about that. We have to play Arsenal in between the 2 fixtures, don't we? If I'm not,
we have to play Arsenal, yeah, and I would imagine we're going to see a rotated squad for that as well, just because of the way the games. I think Brentford, Lille are on his radar, Arsenal not so much, and then we've got Lille and
Bournemouth.
Yeah, of course, Bournemouth. How did I forget that one? And I have said 6 weeks ago, I think one way or another Aston Villa will be qualified for the Champions League by the Bournemouth game. Now, it all does hinge on Chelsea scoring a goal in this game and winning this 3-2. My prediction, well, it all hinges on Man United not winning this game, I suppose. But yeah, that was my prediction, was the Villa would have the Champions League sewn up by the end of the Bournemouth game, and I hope to God that still rings true. But still a lot of football to be played before that does happen.
Yeah. And look, there's a lot of play. Does he treat the Arsenal game the way he treated last night's game? I beg to differ whether he would do that against the club that he would have a little bit of history with. So I would think he wouldn't be playing a under-strength team, let's say. And if he wasn't to come out of this weekend without 3 points, it makes life a little bit more difficult as well for him. But look, we could do it. As you say, we could do it. Man United losing tonight and just taking the pressure off us a little bit. Chelsea were in the box seat and they stopped playing, unfortunately, and it's now 2-2.
Stopped playing for 5 minutes. Yeah, and it's now 2-2. And like just the permutations, if United had lost tonight, lose tonight, and there's still 25 minutes left to play in this game, they could still easily win as well. We've got Liverpool at the weekend. Liverpool had an unconvincing 3-1 win against Sheffield United tonight. But let's just hypothesize, I suppose, that United didn't get 6 points from Chelsea and Liverpool. Well, then we would be looking at United needing to win 5 of their last 7 games to overtake us should we beat Brentford at the weekend. So like they're just the permutations that we're working on at the moment. And the funny thing about it is it's the permutations that I work on with United the whole time always just involve us winning the next game we play. So it's not about winning 3 or 4 more games before the end of the season. It's just winning the next game that we play and then seeing what Manchester United would need to do to equal or overtake us at that stage. So yeah, it's interesting. It is going to be squeaky bum time until it's mathematically impossible for Manchester United to overtake us. But look, we'll see where we get with regards to that later on. Paddy, with regards to the team at the weekend, we're expecting Martinez to be fit, Watkins to be in the team, John McGinn back again, Pau Torres back in the back line.
Yeah,
Not expecting anything major from.
Well, somebody did suggest today that perhaps there's a bit of a bug going around, and that's why we didn't see a fully strength team of what was available last night, and why we saw Tielemans, Bailey, and Pau Torres sitting on the bench at the start of the game. So who knows what way that is, but we'll apparently Man United have just scored. Great. If that's the case, we'll find out soon enough if there is some truth in that. And we know Emi Martinez had a bug, so fingers crossed it's not too serious and we can get people back to full health, and we are firing on all cylinders the weekend, because for me the weekend is huge. As I keep saying, we can only do our own job, so we need to keep winning the matches we should be winning, and that will keep those below us at arm's length. So what have I missed, Neil? Whose fault was that?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Conor Gallagher had one of the worst passes I've ever seen in a Premier League football match, to put the ball out for a quick throw in for Manchester United. They just literally run straight down the wing, cross in, and then the fellow who looks like the angry circus clown, Garnacho, at the back post heads it in. Like, what an insanely poor goal to concede. An insanely poor goal to concede from a Chelsea point of view. Yeah, Pochettino should be sacked. Like, genuinely, looking at a goal like that, Pochettino should be sacked. Oh, there you go. You got to see all my
dirty laundry.
Workings. Yeah, well, actually, I just see that there's a notice up there from Halloween. Sorry, we're not in. Take one bag and happy Halloween. I had to put that out for trick or treaters at Halloween. It's still up. Still on my whiteboard here. Yeah. So it's still within our own hands, as I was saying previously, Paddy, and as you were talking about with regards to the bug going around in the squad. I asked a few questions with regards to that. I got nothing conclusive. Most people seem to think it was a Twitter rumor based on the Emi Martinez piece, but then other people were saying, look, there maybe is some truth to it. So we'll know. Look, if there is a bug going around, still, if Martinez is fit, all the rest of them will be fit as well. If the rest of them were fit to take their place on the bench, they should be absolutely fine for Saturday as well. So I don't expect there to be huge changes from that point of view. Plus, the fact that all the guys that were on the bench came off the bench as well last night, that to me leads me to believe that they will be playing at the weekend too, should they be needed, or should there, yeah. So it's definitely something I think that we'll be able to look at, and I would be able to look forward to, should I say, because you'll be driving the bus at the weekend, Paddy, with regards to the team sheet tantrum and the post match, and I will be coming on with some flagrant behaviour from Kilkenny, from some pub in Kilkenny at some stage. But yeah, I will get on, and I will chat about it, because I will be able to get to watch the game as well. Did you see Tyrone Mings, Paddy, back on the training field today? Now, obviously, only doing straight line running, so nobody get their hopes up that he's going to be in the squad for the weekend. But Tyrone Mings back on his feet running again. You love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant to see him back on grass, I think is the phrase that we need to emphasize here, because he's obviously running in straight lines on treadmills for a long time. But to be straining those muscles by dragging your feet through the grass is brilliant. Obviously, we won't see him again this season. We won't see Emi Buendia at this point, I would imagine. Albeit, I'd say the two of them are very, very close. Especially Buendia, who's back turning on grass for a while now. But yeah, always great to see the progress of these players, and just to get a little insight to how they're doing. It's obviously a bugbear for the whole season, these injuries that we've picked up, and it amazes me that the media never even comment on. They spend so much time telling us what the greedy six have missed throughout the season, and as you correctly pointed out on Twitter last night, we had a whole team missing last night from a whole team of possible starters, nearly nailed on starters, most of them.
It was you take Pau Torres out and you put Conze in as centre half. That was our starting 11 from last year that was missing.
Yeah, there you go.
It actually was our starting 11 from last year that was missing. And it's incredible. And Douglas Luiz, obviously, as well. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the leadership we're missing in there as well. The leadership of Tyrone Mings, the leadership of Boubacar Kamara. There's so much at play, yet we're still finding ourselves in this situation where we can still qualify for the Champions League, and it's in our hands. That's what really annoyed me about last night. That and the fact that it's Man City, and the news coming out today that they're potentially changing the rules so that it'll be a fine as opposed to points. The whole thing
we'll do a full podcast on that, but I've seen a lot of disingenuous reporting on that. That's for future ones, not historical.
It better be.
So I actually saw Sugar, what's his name? Can't remember. Very, very reputable, two reputable people. I think one was Swiss Ramble. I think it was Swiss Ramble, but there was another person. He was a reputable reporter, very reputable. He mentioned that it was for future transgressions, so it would be starting 2024 next season onwards, essentially. So it would start from that. So historical ones wouldn't be taken into account. They would still look at it. I wouldn't be surprised if Aston Villa were one of the teams who wanted that brought in, given our ownership and the fact that he owns an NBA team, and this is the NBA style luxury tax system. And Wes Edens is well used to paying it with regards to Giannis and all those guys on that basketball team. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was us that bloody suggested it. But I think a lot of there was also further reporting later on in the day that a lot of people pushed back against it. They said, yeah, we want that luxury tax, but also if you do the dogging it all together, that you do get points deductions, So we'll see what comes of it. I also think it's like paper and it didn't refuse ink kind of territory, like the blue card stuff that was released recently as well about referees. So
it all makes sense to me. It's all about money. It's all about paying taxes. It's all about the rich getting rich and the poor getting poorer, and not being able to compete at that level. So it still remains to be seen whether it's agreed. So we'll park it for now and concentrate on the job ahead. And the job ahead is for us to get into the Champions League, starting with a win at the weekend in what's going to be. I'm actually raging I'm not going to this one, because I think it's going to be a really important game and potentially a huge one in our season.
Yeah, I think it will be as well. I'm hoping for an Aaron Danks masterclass. If we could just get him on the phone and get him back into Bodymore to coach the lads for the next day or whatever, and get that massive start that we had under Aaron Danks after Gerrard got the boot, that would be good. Yeah, absolutely, because we do need one of those games. It would be nice to like 3 points is massive for this weekend. 3 points with a 2-goal win would be even better for our goal difference as well. Almost it would go a long way to chalking off the 3 goals that we lost by against Man City as well, for sure.
Exactly. Rachel said she'd rest Dougie for the weekend. He has a knock and we can't afford to lose him for 2 games. Scott saying as well, he has a knock. Totally get that. It's a difficult one, because if we do lose him for 2 games, that's Arsenal and Bournemouth that he'll be out for. I'm tempted to think that he will rest him for that reason, but the fact that he has McGinn and possibly Tielemans at full tilt, he could possibly rest him. But he's probably the best player in that position. So if it was me, I would take a chance on it and tell him just to curtail his stupidity and pulling out of people and diving into challenges for 90 minutes only, or perhaps until we're out of sight and we can take him off. I certainly wouldn't like to be Unai Emery's shoes picking this team at the weekend, because the pressure is on to get this absolutely spot on.
It absolutely is, and we're going to need a more defensive-minded, or a person that's well used to playing in the number 6 position at the weekend. And Douglas Luiz is the only one that we have. Yes, we could put John McGinn back in there as well, and I've no doubt that he'd do a fine job there. But you're robbing Peter to pay Paul in that aspect, because if you play McGinn and Tielemans in there, I think that's a recipe for disaster, just from a physicality point of view. And while Douglas Luiz isn't the biggest, bulkiest man in the world, he is able to, stop players coming through. We don't have Kamara. We don't have Dendoncker. Do you put Tim in there again? Maybe he shows faith in Tim once more. It's an interesting one. We'll see what the story is. Maybe he doesn't go with maybe he goes with Bailey behind Watkins and goes with more of a square midfield with Tim and Douglas Luiz in there with John McGinn one side, Tielemans left side. We've seen that a couple of times before. Beginning right, Tielemans in the left, and plays Bailey then off Watkins up top. Who knows? He might even go with resting Bailey all together and putting John Durant up top with Watkins too. We've no idea.
You've answered my question there because you haven't mentioned Diaby. I don't think he's done enough to hang on to his spot in such an important game, albeit he tends to shine in games like that. So, it's going to be a fairly interesting lineup. I hope you're not too drunk to be able to comment at 10-2 on.
I'll be fine. I'm a professional, Paddy. I'm a professional.
Yeah, I remember the last time you were a professional at a stag party.
What was that? What stag was that?
Or maybe it wasn't a stag. Was it? You were in Mike.
That was when I was down in Listowel.
Yeah.
That was great crack. That was brilliant crack. Yeah, I had fellas draw me out points from the pub and everything that time. Yeah, that was brilliant. But the bad thing about that was Villa went on to lose 3-0 to Chelsea. That day, Lukaku had a field day. Under Dean Smith. Although I think we had a good 45 minutes, and then the second half we conceded 3, if I'm not mistaken. See, wasn't that bad? I can remember some of the game. Anyway, it was the game we went to 3 at the back, and I was doing a lot of gloating about saying that we would go to 3 at the back when the team sheet was announced. But we'll see you guys on Saturday for that point from that point of view. Anyway, for sure. What else was there was something else I wanted to chat about. Paddy, there was something else, and I can't think of it. Maybe it was the new financial fair play stuff. No, it's completely slipped my mind. I was going to say, Paddy, are you confident at the weekend? But we'll get into that, I suppose. As in, give me a score prediction, but we get into that for the team sheet tantrum after we see the team. This has been a bit of a nondescript podcast, really. I've spent half looking at the screen here to see what the score was in the Chelsea United game.
Everybody is a bit distracted, and it is all about confidence as the weekend, and we don't need me or you to be confident. We need our players to be confident.
That's it, yeah.
And on the money, and times have changed from that time you were in Mike DePoy's under Steven Gerrard, was it?
I think it might have been Dean Smith.
Was it? Okay.
It might have been, yeah. I think it might have been one of Dean Smith's last games.
I see. Well, times have changed. We're a different beast now in a different club under an exceptional manager. So I'm not as worried as I would have been back in them days. And it's a different type of pressure being at the top and worrying about getting into these Champions League positions. I think after last night, we're no longer in the title race, although the media will tell you we were never in a title race, even though we were still in kind of touch and distance. But last night has really put paid to that. And look, all we can do now is go and get any type of win. I don't care if it hits off the goalkeeper's arse and goes in the 93rd minute, although my heart might not take it till that type of the game. But we just need to really go and win this game, and that is the most important game of the season now.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I want to say thanks very much to John Morgan as well. He just became a YouTube member as well.
Cheers,
Thank
John.
you so much for that, John. Really, really appreciate that. And we have, we also, our live podcast in Birmingham on the 19th of April, we'll probably have some news on that coming out soon. I know we've been kind of talking a small bit about it with regards to guests and so on. But we'll have more news coming out on that, I would imagine, in the next couple of days. It's coming very, very thick and fast at the moment, but tickets are still available. Yapsody.com/ for the love of Paul McGrath. We'll get you there, and you can still get tickets for that there too. But yeah, we should have some more information on that in the coming days. We're beginning to just get there and get it finalized, I suppose, with regards to what's going to happen. So Kieran asks, is it nearly sold out yet? Yeah, it is nearly sold out, but not quite. Not quite for the Aston Inn on the 19th of April, or the weekend of the 19th of April. Oh, I thought Chelsea scored. Whatever way I looked at the screen, I thought there was somebody celebrating, but he had his hands on his head. Yeah, I think that's going to do it, Paddy. I'm, as I say, we'll have everybody back, watch the last 10 minutes of the Chelsea United game. And we'll be back with a team sheet tantrum on Saturday as well at 1:50 and a post-match podcast. They've all been loaded into the system, so Paddy can just press play on them and I'll be able to drop on at some stage. But we hope that you do join us for those as well, for what should be a really exciting weekend, and a weekend really whereby which will be very defining, I suppose, when we get towards the business end of the season. At the end of the year, Manchester United playing Liverpool and we're playing Brentford. We get 3 points, and I think that puts us in really, really good stead. So we do need 3 points at the weekend, and I hope you join us for the team sheet tantrum on Saturday as well. But until then, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.